You know, folks, one of the funniest things that I've seen all year long is watching the mainstream media go out of their way to create this narrative that Donald Trump was a changed man after Pennsylvania, that he was going to have a message of unity and peace and love. He was going to bring all Americans together and he was going to turn the temperature down on his rhetoric. They went out of their way to paint that picture. And then he gets up at the RNC, and for the first 5 to 10 minutes, you think, okay, he might actually be going to pull this off. The only problem is he's not capable of pulling it off. And he went right back into his big unhinged speeches that we've been hearing this entire time. Those of us that have been paying attention knows that he's been out there bragging about this uncle at MIT. He's been talking about batteries and sharks and all this ridiculous stuff. And so we didn't see Trump as a changed man at the RNC. And then when he hit the campaign trail and he stopped here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, he was right back to playing his hits. So let's start bringing those receipts. Roll the clip.
I always tell the story with like, well, what would you do? Because, you know, my uncle was a great professor at MIT for 41 years, I think. He's the longest serving Dr. John Trump, she knows. He was great, very smart. We have a very smart family, actually. But he was a great guy, and I was very interested in this, but the press kills me all the time. They say, he keeps talking about sharks. I tell an analogy. If I'm in a boat, it's all electric, and it starts to sink. I asked the guy, do you get electrocuted sitting over this? And then I say, and I don't think there's anything wrong with this, do you? Because it's an analogy. I say, and if there's a shark about 10 yards away, right where they are, right where all the congressmen are, right over there, look at us. Well, they're sharks. They're sharks. If there's a shark about 10 yards away, do I get electrocuted or do I go with the shark? I said, because I will take electrocution all day long.
There is no world in which that makes sense. You cannot make that make sense. That is some of the most incoherent gibberish that I have ever heard. And he's actually got people standing behind him cheering that on. You know, I had never saw the movie Idiocracy. I had so many people recommending it to me after the RNC. It's something that I'd never seen. I just saw a few clips of. And I went and sat through that movie, and it was supposed to be funny. It was supposed to be a comedy. But I sat there watching it going, dang, they wrote the blueprint for Trump. This is real life now. That is his followers. That is him speaking. It makes absolutely no sense. There's people out there, well, you're taking it out of context. There's no way to put that into any context in which it makes sense. Well, he was building to a point. He never gets there, folks. He never gets to his point. But all he has to do in all these clips we're going to see is go, well, the media likes to say that I ramble about these things. The media likes to say it. And he can paint the media as the enemy and then say whatever incoherent gibberish he wants to say. And the followers will stand there and nod as though they're on that movie Idiocracy. It's absolutely crazy. And he's not going to do anything to make their lives better. And one of the reasons why he's not is because they can't afford to send him $45 million a month. Elon Musk, he caught wind that he was doing that. And now he says, we got to make life easy for our smart people. Take a look at this.
We have to make life good for our smart people. You know, we have some smart people. We have to make life good for our smart people. And he's as smart as you get. But Elon endorsed me the other day, and I didn't even know this. He didn't even tell me about it. But he gives me $45 million a month.
How many times have you heard a conservative say, boy, if we just had all that money we're sending over there to Ukraine, man, look what we could do to help the American people. Yet they're perfectly okay with Elon Musk just pissing $45 million a month up this guy's ass. And they will sit back and cheer that on. And I don't know if Elon knows this or not, but here Elon is, the guy that's trying to bring us battery-powered cars, and Trump is against batteries. So are they the smart people? Are they the brilliant people that's just pissing their money away on these things? And imagine if Elon put all that money toward world hunger, or put all that money toward cancer research, or put all that money toward anything, feeding the homeless. Imagine all the good things that could happen with that $45 million, but it's going to support that lunacy. And Trump was supposed to bring people together. He was supposed to dial down the rhetoric, but he's still out there praising dictators. Take a look.
Imagine these killers, these are sharp. You know, the press gets angry. They said, is President Xi of China, is he a smart man? I said, no, he's a brilliant man. He controls 1.4 billion people with an iron fist. He makes guys like Biden look like babies. They don't even know whether they're coming or going. Yes, he's, the next day headline, Trump calls him brilliant. How dare, no, okay. Let's say he's not a smart man. Okay, whatever makes you happy. No matter what you do, I say he's a brilliant man. They went crazy because I called him brilliant. So I'm just going to have to say, he's okay. He's okay.
So let's stop and think about this one for a minute. He always starts off by demonizing the press and making fun of them. And then he sits back and praises dictators who rules with an iron fist. Yet they say we're the ones that's being divisive for pointing out that that ain't normal, that is not normal rhetoric for a political candidate. A guy who was once president and wants to be again can stand up there and demonize the press and praise a dictator, and no one doesn't see the danger in that. You want to say that we're divisive for simply pointing that out? I mean, if you study any dictator, the first thing they do is they absolutely go after the press and make them the enemy of the people. And they also disarm the population. So good luck with that, MAGA. But I saved the best part for last because Trump is also trying so desperately to distance himself from Project 2025. And folks, when you listen to this, if you can't understand and hear that this is just straight up a line of bullshit, then I don't know how to help you, but roll the clip.
And you know, the other side's going around trying to make me sound extreme, like I'm an extremist. I'm not. I'm a person with great common sense. I'm not an extremist at all. Like some on the right, severe right, came up with this Project 25, and I don't even know. I mean, some of them I know who they are, but they're very, very conservative, just like you have. They're sort of the opposite of the radical left, okay? You have the radical left and you have the radical right. And they come up with this, I don't know what the hell it is, it's Project 25. He's involved in Project, and then they read some of the things and they are extreme. I mean, they're seriously extreme. But I don't know anything about it. I don't want to know anything about it. But what they do is misinformation and disinformation.
Have you guys ever saw the skit that's here on YouTube? You can look it up. It's called I Do Not Freebase Cocaine, where the guy's like, I do not freebase cocaine. I mean, I might do a little every now and then, but I do not freebase cocaine. Go look that up if you've never seen it and tell me that's not Donald Trump trying to dodge accountability of Project 2025. It's the same thing. As I was sitting there watching that, I was like, yeah, it's just reminding me of that skit. More and more of Trump is starting to remind us of satirical skits, but the scary part is, folks, this is real life. Now, the one question that I had as I'm sitting there watching that was, I wonder how the Heritage Foundation feels about this. I mean, he's out there saying he knows nothing about him. He's out there calling him the extreme right. Well, it turns out that they know he's lying, and they understand why. Yeah, here's another receipt. Take a look.
President Trump say this and what you envision as being behind it tactically?
Well, I think it's the sign of a great leader who understands he's in a terrific political news cycle. He's run a really good campaign from start up to this point, and the left's mischaracterization of Project 2025 had become a liability. I think we've seen that really turn around in the last few days since that statement. So no hard feelings from any of us at Project 2025 about the statement, because we understand Trump is the standard bearer and he's making a political, tactical decision there.
So, yeah, they know he's lying, and they're perfectly okay with it because they know if he gets reelected, he will do what they want him to do. So they have no problem with it. He can go ahead and lie, and we can go ahead and show people that clip, and they'll find a way to say we're the ones being divisive. Do you see how this thing's all playing out? Folks, I wonder if we will ever get back to any sense of normalcy, or are we now on this ride and we're stuck here for the rest of our lives? I was talking to my good buddy Texas Trey earlier, and I was like, dude, are we ever going to get off this roller coaster? Are we ever going to have a sense of normalcy again, or is this going to be the rest of our lives? I want to play this clip last because I think that it's something we should take a look at. This is just 16 years ago. This is John McCain losing to Barack Obama, and he comes out and concedes with grace and with dignity. I want you to take a look at this clip. I want you to listen to the crowd, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about it.
I had the honor of calling Senator Barack Obama to congratulate him, please, to congratulate him on being elected the next president of the country that we both love. In a contest as long and difficult as this campaign has been, his success alone commands my respect for his ability and perseverance. But that he managed to do so by inspiring the hopes of so many millions of Americans who had once wrongly believed that they had little at stake or little influence in the election of an American president is something I deeply admire and commend him for achieving.
Yeah, that was a Republican candidate 16 years ago. Do you think we will ever see that again from the Republicans? Do you think that we will ever see one come out with that type of grace and that type of dignity and cool the crowd down? Did you notice the crowd was booing? And did you notice that McCain was turning the temperature down by saying, look, listen, we lost and we're just going to have to move forward? Did you notice his temperament, and did you hear the crowd's temperament? Well, McCain was trying to turn that temperature down. Donald Trump saw that crowd booing, and he cranked the temperature up. He fed into those boos. That's why I get so offended when people in the mainstream media says that those of us in the pro-democracy movement are the ones that's responsible for turning up the temperature. No, folks. Donald Trump is who came along and cranked up the temperature in the room. He is the one who played into that type of rhetoric. John McCain could have easily heard those boos and went off on the same type of tirade that this was stolen. And imagine if he had have. I mean, imagine if John McCain had have actually said that a black man stole this from me. Imagine the crowd that he could have riled up. Imagine the anger and the mob that he could have sent on the Capitol. But he didn't, because he was a good man. I didn't agree with him, but he was a good man. Donald Trump, on the other hand, would have absolutely capitalized off those boos. That's what he's been doing this entire time. So that it's not us turning up the heat, folks. Donald Trump is the one that did it, and we're always going to call him out for doing so. We're always going to bring the receipts.